The story takes place in the Antares Empire. Wars breaking out with monsters and humans battling each other. The situation describes a fight against the Demon King, with the hope of the heroes defeated him. That said, as we move over to the heart of the palace, the heroes arrive at the scene to stop the evil deeds of the Demon King. With the Sword Saint vowing to bring an end to the Dark Empire, Reifenhard Antares, otherwise labeled as Demon King, questioned as to why they labeled the land as evil. The Martial King will step in to state that the corrupt monsters will disappear and be cleansed. Reifenhard would find this amusing, as he would think that those so-called monsters were capable of learning human tactics. He would ask if the heroes defeated his four heavenly kings. With the heroes nodding, this will leave a shock, as in reality the label of the term monster couldn't be further from the truth. However, nothing would drive Reifenhard more angry than to hear the death of his companion, Cirrus. With the heroes vowing to defeat Reifenhard, Reifenhard too would respond in kind. If these guys won't listen to reason, then a Demon King I shall be. Now let's backtrack and learn a little bit about the situation. As you know, this is Reifenhard. He is not the Demon King, but a great mage. Throughout his life, he begins to notice that humans do not see otherworldly species as equals. This includes elves, dwarves, orcs, and trolls that are seen as nothing more than slaves. That said, Reifenhard begins to build a relation with them. Studying their culture, he was able to attain a new level of power, reaching 10th circle in magic. The more he interacted with others, the better outlook on life he would have on other species. Eventually, Reifenhard would create a territory for a place other species to have a home within. This is to break the cycle as well as rescuing them from freedom. Invasions would likely occur, but over time this territory would become known as the Antares Empire today. Now just to clarify, Reifenhard, being a human himself, didn't hate his own kind. Rather, he wanted others to believe that otherworldly species were not inferior to humans in any way. Of course, this is easier said than done, as people would begin labeling Reifenhard as the Demon King, which leads us back to the present. The last one standing is the Martial King Teslan, as the others were defeated relatively easy. This, however, won't be an easy fight. With Teslan closing in on Reifenhard, he delivers a devastating attack, shattering everything around him. Luckily, Reifenhard was able to evade it in time. Still, in hot pursuit, the two would go outside, causing damage to the buildings around them. Landing on the fallen rubble, Reifenhard would catch himself only to find Teslan ready to deliver a blow. Reifenhard would attempt to block the attack, however he would be on the receiving end of a legendary chop. With the situation not looking good, Reifenhard would devise a plan to use an artifact called the Eye of Time in space. This artifact, according to Reifenhard, has the ability to turn back time. Seeing no other option, Reifenhard proceeds to use it, with Teslan attempting to stop him. The two clash with a bang. It is morning. We encounter a house just within the forest. A young man will begin to wake, stating that the spell must have worked, although there may be a slight error, as the young man doesn't recall being in this area in his past. I wonder why. As it turns out, the man in question is actually Reifenhard after noticing that his body is not that of his own. Feeling puzzled, Reifenhard will quickly realize that the body he is currently in is the Martial King Teslan himself. However, before he could react, a voice called out for him. Stepping in, having to be much bigger in size, is the continent's strongest martial artist, King Gerard Chrome Protas. With no time to waste, Gerard would take Reifenhard through a training regimen. This by no means was pretty, as Gerard would deliver numerous blows to start the day. After enduring a long day of senseless beating, that night, Reifenhard would be surprised at the recovery rate of the bath that is filled with healing potion. With Reifenhard having some time to think, he confirms that he is indeed in the past, though he begins to wonder what happened to his original body. There are two things he thought of. Either two versions of Reifenhard exist in this world, or just like the situation he is in, the martial king Teslant is currently inhabiting Rivenheart's real body. Days would pass. As the training continued, Rivenheart would begin to endure different amounts of training consisting of building an appetite, running up mountains, and performing one-finger push-ups. This of course would exhaust Rivenheart that he would attempt to escape numerous times, only to come up short. Gerard would reassure Rivenheart that he'll be much stronger if he continues to train at Underhill. 2 years passed after senseless beatings, and Rivenheart would succeed in awakening his aura. Congrats indeed. With Rivenheart curious about the next step to his training, it turns out it's going to be him sparring with the king himself. And with that, 3 more years would pass. We begin to see Rivenheart at the waterfall. Charging up an attack, he delivers a powerful blow to the wall, shattering through it. This indeed shows the result of his training. However, we must also remember that Rivenheart was previously a mage, though it's only natural that the knowledge he once attained is present, albeit not as powerful due to the body change. Moments after, Rivenheart would sense a presence nearby that turns out to be an orc. Upon the two locking eyes, the orc would tell Rivenheart to pretend he didn't see him. Rivenheart would begin to speak, asking if he is in any sort of trouble. This would shock the orc as he is able to understand his language. He would nod, stating that he is indeed being chased. To solve this, Rivenheart would begin to assist the orc by concealing his identity. This would cause confusion for the orc due to him using mage abilities, but he thanks him nonetheless. Right after heading in, a group of soldiers would show up to question Rivenheart on the whereabouts of an orc. Rivenheart would respond no, but the soldier did not take the response lightly. So, instead, Rivenheart shows them the way out with a good beating. As they leave, the orc comes out expressing his gratitude. Right before departure, Rivenheart asks for his name with the shock of realizing that this person is one of his 4 heavenly kings from his past life. I believe it goes Ta Tiid, a fateful encounter indeed. 1 year would pass after meeting with Ta Tiid. Gerard and Rivenheart have been progressing more on the training routine. Rivenheart, during that time, has been cooking up a special move to show his results. Launching up in the air, he would shout, "Calamity Horn," as he proceeded to land a devastating strike to the ground, crashing everything. This would impress Gerard to see Rivenheart's growth. With that, Gerard would announce that it's time for Rivenheart to head out into the world, with a reminder to follow the principles and teachings to one day pass it along to a disciple. Rivenheart would begin to be on this merry way. The scene would take us to a town area. A village chief is currently requesting payment for food from one of the soldiers. The soldier would find the request dishonorable, but nevertheless offers a gold coin. The chief would inform the soldier that it wasn't enough. This would enrage the soldier, causing him to strike at the chief. Soon, after a young lord named Stefan would step in, only adding more salt to the wound. Heading over to Rivenheart, he is within the city of Krone, thinking of Cirrus. Cirrus is not only one of the heavenly kings in Rivenheart's past, but also his partner. This explains the sudden reaction upon hearing her death by one of the heroes. Since Rivenheart has met one of his former kings, Ta Tiid, Cirrus in this case will soon be next. Stefan and his team are in search of an ancient ruin that holds the burial of a renowned swordsman, Sir Cloyd von Letar Altiel. That's probably not right. Anyway, their destination would align with Rivenheart, as 3 days later he begins to make his way over to Cattle Village. Within the village, the atmosphere is tense. The ancient ruin may hold something valuable, but it doesn't come close without consequence, hence the name, Valley of Death. So why does it matter to the villagers? Well, Stefan requests for a guide through the Valley of Death, and you do well not to reject a noble. Luckily, Rivenheart offers to go in their stead, since he was also on his way there as well. And with that, the destination is set, and a party is formed. Now onward to the dungeon known as the Valley of Death, where legends notorious for their name have failed their blade. While traveling, an ambush would ensue by a group of flying monsters. With quick response, everyone began to gather formation to prepare for battle. Rifleheart would focus on protecting the workers, demonstrating the result of his training.